episode of the podcast. Today, Glenn and I are going to be talking about social media versus email marketing. There's some really incredible stuff going on. We're entering into 2025. Social media in the last 4 to 5 years has made some gigantic changes. So we're going to be talking about how, as a personal trainer, you should juggle social media versus email advertising. But first, Glenn, how are you doing today, sir?
Sweet. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Very good. It is December, early December. We're only going to get one more podcast in before the end of the year. But it's really exciting times because this is a great time to reconcile your year prior, look at trends that are happening in the marketplace, and figure out what you can do to continue to scale your organic personal training business. It's very interesting. I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a very large dying off, if you will, of online personal training coaches, right? A lot of people in 2021 and 2022, because of condition that we won't talk about, everyone was switching to online, and many people are not anymore. And the truth is, it's really difficult to make a good go at that business without consistently advertising. So we're going to talk about how to get past that and build an incredible organic business. What do you think we should start with?
Let's discuss email marketing in terms of just real quick why it's important and why why every trainer should be doing it, regardless if they are the owner of a business or a one-on-one entrepreneur.
I think to kind of go that direction, we have to talk about a little bit of changes that happened in social media, so that way you can see where the email advertising comes in. Because there's two things that has happened. If you go back to 2019 and 2020, there was a lot of opportunity to do sales on social media. Copywriting, more of post-style formats instead of reels, like TikTok reels. You could write long copy that told huge stories like I used to do, and people would actually see it and read it. And anything that had a call to action, like click below to learn more, book a call with me, book a free audit, you could get away with that. Now, if you've experimented with this at all, anything that has a call to action that is any bit salesy whatsoever for to do something, to buy a product, to endorse a product, even testimonials if they're not done in a very congenial way, they're lower in viewership, right? They're not picked up by the algorithm in the same way. So ultimately, this means on social media, selling is a lot harder. The second thing that happened in social media land is from 2020 to now, the number of people trying to do marketing things like We Teach You, personal trainers, kind of getting caught up to speed to social media sales from 2020. Everyone is doing it to the point that if you try to send someone a direct message on social media, it just gets filtered and goes right away. Like Instagram and Facebook and other platforms, you can't even see it. So again, another barrier where you can't do any cold outreach, which at one time was a very powerful tool. The third thing, which I did not mention, was, I don't know if anyone recalls this. You probably remember it. I remember it vividly. In 2021, Instagram and Facebook crashed for like 6 to 7 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I recall a bunch of our students were like, we're building so much stock with Facebook groups and social media. What should we do? It's a good question. This hasn't happened again since 2021, where the platforms have gone down for an extended period of time. But what we need to be thinking about is, what can we do outside of Meta, if you will, outside of TikTok, to make sure you have an amazing support system. So very simply, before we get into email advertising, social media is a place that you build trust and you grow your audience. And if you can build trust, grow your audience, and even test out your branding, email advertising is going to be where you go to sell people. Because if we think of the cold, warm, and hot audience continuum, people that get into your email list are warm and hot leads, right? People that are product aware, they are problem aware, and they're ending up in there because you've done some really, really nice organic way to draw people in by giving them some free stuff. I think that's an important place to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a really interesting concept. I don't know if this is going to be exactly on the train of thought, but I was thinking about this concept where, there's you walk by a busy street and there's someone out on the side of the walk. Like, come into my store. Come take a look at what I have. Come into my store. You're like, get out of here. I don't want to go anywhere near you. Like, this is weird that you're trying to usher me into your store. But if you walk by the same store and you're like, oh, I've heard about that place. It's got like good reviews. It seems like they're doing some really interesting stuff. They got some great products. I think I want to go in and check them out. This is, I think, a great way to think about marketing, in the sense that you want to become so oversubscribed or have such a great brand and such a great product that people are coming to you and they want to opt in, versus you trying to force them in and try to sell them on something. And I think, to Brandon's point, this is where the email list is so beautiful, because people have to opt in for that bad boy, for them to be on it, essentially. And they want, you ought actually also, I suppose this is actually what I'm trying to say, you ought to be striving to be oversubscribed. Get so many eyes on you, have so many people want to work with you, have so many people that see you that you've got your pick when you're ready for a new client, right? I guess the idea is instead of trying to sell to the supply of people that are out there, create the demand by having a strong brand, strong email marketing, strong Instagram, social media presence.
So how do we do this? Right, Glenn's absolutely right, and the analogy you talked about with the sign and everything. That's actually, there was a larger part of that I used to tell in 2022. And I remember it was that we were talking about copy and people who are driving past a business versus highway business versus walking past a business. We need to try and make sure that no matter what it is you're doing, so social media, you've built this audience. Step 2, email advertising. We need to make sure we have a way to get people into your email ecosystem. And so if we're going to get people in, there's a great word that one of my friends has been using, and I've been using it in the mentorship, and it's, what is your Godfather offer, right? What is something that is so powerful, so compelling, something that you just cannot refuse, right? So to Glenn's point, if you go past this incredible restaurant, you're like, one of my clients told me about that place. I heard it was pretty good. Right? And then outside it says 50% off for first-time customers. You're like, well, dang, that's an expensive, nice restaurant, and it's 50% off because I've never been there before. I'm going to go in there, right? What you've heard is you have a bit of social proof from someone saying great things, and then you see the 50% off. Maybe you see the 50% off for first-time customers. You're like, oh, cool, I'll come by there again another time. And then there's another email or something that you see that says, hey, sign up for our email, you get 75% off. And all of a sudden it becomes this really, really black hole where you enter into the event horizon of, I'm entering into this place. So if you have your social media, a really powerful thing you can do is you leverage things like the lead magnets we create in FPM, or really any sort of valuable thing. If you have something that can help people, right? Who wants my free guide for 5 ways to improve mobility? Who wants a full yoga practice, 60-minute yoga flow completely for free? Who wants a month of exercises? All of these idea of digital products are really, really inexpensive, if not free, low-hanging fruit that people can get. But all you have to do is create a very, very simple opt-in form or a landing page. Put your email here and we'll send it to you. This becomes a quid pro quo because you create something that has a lot of demand that people can actually leverage and use that will actually help them for free. And then you as an asset get their email into your data bank. Then your job is just to continue to build that trust.
That's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
So once you get people on the landing page, right, one thing that's really easy and inexpensive to do is if you go to a host like MailChimp, which is an email server that you can use for like $25 a month, you can get a decent amount of customers. I believe it's up to 2,500 prospects into your email list. You do need to experiment with splitting up your email list so you have customer emails, inactive customer emails, and then prospects, people who are not customers, because this becomes very important as you're starting to do advertising. But once you have this set up, in those servers, you can create what's called a landing page. And if you're not familiar with what's a landing page, it is essentially a very specific web page that has one purpose, right? It is a sales page to attract people in, get them excited, to put their email in so they can get the thing and you can get their email. The most amazing thing about these email servers now is they have automations built into them. So someone signs up for your email. They get automatically, you don't have to do any manual work, an automatic email that sends them to Google Drive, the unlisted YouTube video, to your course portal, whatever you have. Something just sends to them immediately. And this is where the magic gets set up. This sounds like a lot of work, but in reality, it's not. Because all you have to do is figure out the first few steps. If you're struggling with this, please reach out to this. This is something we're going to be teaching heavily into 2025 to make sure your entire marketing ecosystem is set. But once they get into your email list, you can set up sequences of emails that give more value, build more trust. And it can be an automation. You could set up 10 emails where day 1, they get the lead magnet, if you will. Day 2, they get another lead magnet that they didn't even ask for. Day 4, they get a video introducing your facility and you, and go on and so on and so forth. Give, ask, give, ask. This gives you an opportunity to build trust, right? Because the number of times someone actually opens the email, the more likely more recipients are going to get that email and it's not going to go into junk. And then when you have offers, 50% off for the first-time customers. These people have already opened a bunch of your emails. It's not in their junk inbox. And now you can actually start selling. Because the beautiful thing about email is it is not controlled algorithmically unless it is clearly junk. So sales letters go there.
I think one of the other beautiful things about this, I know we're both really big in this, in our practice, we collect a lot of data and information on the people that we work with, range of motion, posture, whole bunch of like sets and rep schemes, dynamometer data, hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of data within the first month alone. I'm not even kidding. And the beautiful thing is with email marketing, you can now see objectively how many opens you're getting, how many people are reading through, are they clicking the links inside of those emails. There's a plethora of other data information you can get, real in-depth stuff that you might not necessarily get on Instagram or on other Facebook platforms. You can really see how well is the copy and how well are your offers performing. Yeah. And then you can titrate that and make it even better and better and better over time. And that's one of the reasons why you ought to really love data and really even get to learn to love email marketing, because you can make this thing evergreen. So you just set it and forget it. And then as you need to, tighten up the copy, tighten up the offers, tighten up the email chain so that your return on investment is better and better while you sleep.
Yeah, and like Glenn said, like the metrics are amazing. Like if you send 1,000 emails and 780 people open them, and then maybe you have an opt-in button inside that email, if you have 780 emails that go and only 78 of those get clicked opt-in, now you have a 10% conversion. So you can go, okay, well, interesting. What is it that I've done in this email that I could do to get 12%? 14%, 15%. Are there any barriers? Is the language too confusing? Could I make it a bit smoother? Because then all of a sudden, truthfully, 10% is 78 out of 780 is a fine number. But you get to play the game of how do I make this better? And the truth is, if you want to grow a beautiful garden, you have to start. And you're going to make mistakes. And that's fine. You're going to have flowers that will not make it. But then what you do is you track, okay, I watered this plant every day for 3 weeks and I crushed it. Well, maybe I should do every other day. Maybe I should do every day but drop the amount of water. Maybe I should have done more water. You don't know until you get started. And that's what's really cool about this. You just get another metric set. And if you're analyzing your metrics on social media, you can actually see like how many people are actually seeing you, right? This is what's interesting is you can have a very powerful audience, right? You can be like, I work with seniors struggling with pain. And that's great, but they're not on social media and they're not digitally super hands-on. So then you have to find a way, do I really want to go for the digital email thing for this senior demographic? Or do I want to try and use my emails to target a slightly younger demographic, like the parents, like the moms, if you will, 55 agers, 55-year-old people, and then you try and go for the grandparents. And you can do that through email marketing. Did you know when you're 55 years old, aches and pains start to happen because you're not strong enough? Now that's a very compelling message, and you can move on to the next thing.
I think one of the most interesting things from a big picture perspective, and the email marketing is a really great example of this, is a lot of the best marketing tools are evergreen, and it just takes some time to start up with it. You produce a lead magnet a month. I think we might have 20 at this point because we've been doing it for a year and a half, more so. We have now like 20 different lead magnets that we can share with people left, right, and center. They're already done at just sharing them. Email automations, the second you get it set up, it's there and it's done for you for life anytime anybody opts in. Social proof in terms of testimonials, one of the key piece of things that you need, that when people actually have their eyeballs on you to decide whether they're going to work with you or not, to see you've helped people like them before, those are evergreen as well. We've been using a lot of the same ones for 5-10 years, and they still bring us business. These things, yes, take some time to set up, and yes, there's some technical learning to it, but once you get it done, it's set it and forget it, largely, and you just end up getting more leads and prospects while you sleep. It's really important to take the time to put in these things, especially if one of those people that is really great at sprinting and then kind of has a hard time keeping up with things. And I'm very much the same way. Like I'm great at sprinting in one area, but I'm terrible at like day-to-day upkeep. The evergreen stuff is beautiful for people like me. And for that reason, you ought to be focusing on a lot of these evergreen marketing strategies.
So if any of you are like, okay, this sounds like it makes sense, Brandon and Glenn, what do I do from here? Please reach out to us and let us know where you're feeling stuck. I've been experimenting a lot with email marketing. We have a ton of stuff coming out, and we've got over 20 lead magnets. We just released the Footbox lead magnet, which is a template that you can adjust yourself to use to draw value and draw people into your business. All you got to do is change the colors. Super, super easy. And we can send the email copies so you can actually set up those emails as well. But Before we put a pin in it today, I want to do pick of the week. Glenn and I, if you're new here, pick one thing, one lesson, one educational thing, one piece of tech, something that has changed our life in the week that might help you. And Glenn, what's your pick of the week?
Yes, my pick of the week. I think this is actually probably great for everyone to do, but especially if you're maybe a younger new trainer, this is going to be a really important piece here. I think a lot of people often may think that they don't have as much knowledge or the skills, or they're not XYZ enough. And maybe that's some negative thinking, maybe not. One of the things that I did recently that was of tremendous value for me is I did something that you might refer to as like a value canvas or mountain of value. And what I essentially did is I looked at all the different things that I've done as an access professional in the 13 years, the people that I've worked with, maybe some of the accolades that I've achieved, my certifications, different allied partners that I've worked with, learnings that I've had, failures that I've had, looking at like every little detail inside my business and putting it down in a Excel sheet. And it allowed me to actually take a look and see the tremendous mountain of value that I have beneath me. And one of the great things is, and this is where it applies to marketing, is if you really know all this stuff about yourself, you have a lot more to share with people. Whether you go to do a presentation for the first time, you can then craft your introduction and your pitch around some of the things that you have. You can look and see where you failed and create stories to share with clients so that they can grow and learn from your mistakes. There's so much value that you probably already have underneath your belt that you might not even know about. It's really just about mining it. And so this is the time of year, as Brandon mentioned at the very beginning, we do a little bit more reflection. We take a look at trends. We see where we are in our business. I recommend taking a look at all the amazing things that you've done, also where you failed as well, and just get as much of that onto a piece of paper, a spreadsheet as possible, even just as a thought exercise, because it will open up new avenues for marketing, communication, all the different 5 pillars that we speak about that make an amazing personal trainer, and it'll especially give you more information and ammunition when you're marketing. So my pick of the week is the value canvas or mountain of value, whatever you want to call that. Just do some deep digging on yourself and realize how amazing you already are.
So I'm going to pick a pick of the week that I won't lie, I've picked before, and it's not for the lack of originality, but it's for the usefulness. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because this microphone right here is the DJI microphone. It is actually the first generation. And the reason why I bring this up is if you're doing any video content whatsoever, I will say this. When we first started doing testimonial videos in 2018, I spent $800 on a professional lavalier mic that I still have, and it is better quality than this, right? It is very, very good quality, but I bought it because there were no other options. Everything else wireless just didn't work. And I needed something to do the testimonial videos, so I took some of the video editing budget that I had at that time. You've heard me tell the story before if you've been here for a while. Anyway, I bought this 2 or 3 years ago because Curtis Clay had it. He's a good friend of mine, and it was $400 around the time that I bought it. This is first generation. The reason why I show this is because if you're going to do any video content, you need to have high quality audio. And these wireless receivers have become cheaper, better, and more accessible to get to. So they've reached the second generation. You can get the exact one I have in my hand used with the 2 microphones in it. So not just 1, 2 for about $200 used. In the US, it's way less. If you want, you can buy 1 microphone with a receiver for even less than that. Even more significantly, if you're looking for a gift idea for yourself or someone who's in the social media content creation game, DJI has created a single mic version called the DJI Mini. It's even less expensive, better quality sound than the one I have in my hand. Rode has made a new model that they just released yesterday with a bunch of different colorways, which is super cool. Ultimately, to get incredible sounding audio, which in my opinion for video content is way more important than the quality video. The sound has to not suck. You can get wireless microphones for so cheap, and they're so easy. They're literally plug and play. You plug it into your phone and go. I use this tool once or twice a day. I use it on my phone for calls I use it on my computer when I got to do Zoom calls and I don't want to set up the full podcast mic that I've got here. DJI mic, look up the DJI mic Mini and the Rode Go 3, both brand new, both inexpensive, and will ultimately change your content creation flow. Like, trust me, once you get into it, you're like, I don't know why I didn't have this sooner. It's, in my opinion, an investment that every business should have if you're creating content.
2 real quick things. One, when Brandon says like they're cheap, it doesn't mean you buy a $25 or $50 one, because I know everyone's made that mistake and the sound quality is horrible. What Brandon's saying is for the return on investment, incredibly invaluable investment. That's the first thing. We're on the same page there,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
The second thing is any half decent editing software Instagram has it. I believe Facebook has it. I know you edit with Adobe, I think Premiere.
No, Final Cut Pro.
Oh, Final Cut Pro. I know Adobe Premiere has it. I know Wondershift Filmora, which I use, which is like a middle to high end editor. They all have AI voice adjustments now, and they're fantastic. Inside Instagram, you can do the same thing, and it works out really, really well. I've tried it. Even if you get one of those microphones, you can get really, really close to that really expensive lavalier quality, more than enough for what you need.
The new ones actually have noise reduction built
Inside,
into them.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So this one does not.
Yeah.
When I'm doing videos, sometimes you can hear trainers in the background. You can hear the treadmill running. But the new ones have noise reduction built in. It's just a switch, which is really like an incredible feature. If you don't know what I mean, you're filming in a busy gym, it can really help to isolate it. Like these microphones right now, there's a treadmill going on behind us. You only hear the one side because the microphone that's in front of me, if you're not watching, it's a dynamic microphone. It's pointing right towards my mouth, so it captures no sound behind it.
Talk over here for a second. So
Yeah,
people
if I
can
turn
understand.
the microphone, so I'm going to turn the microphone away and I'm going to keep talking. You can hear me just a little bit, but the sound drops off significantly. And as soon as I bring it back, you can hear how clear it is. These microphones are omnidirectional because they are a simple mic. But if you get background noise going, it can be really, really overbearing. So the new ones are the same, like very affordable, I should say, for what you get. Do not buy a cheap one. I have purchased my mom actually one for recording ukulele, and I bought her a cheap one for Christmas because she said that's all she wanted. Like it's such a big difference. Big difference. Like if you have a business, buy one of these.
Enough said.
Okay, everyone. Happy December. We're coming into 2025. I hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful year. I think for the next podcast, we're going to do a recap of things that were really, really exciting, student wins, and kind of have a fun way to finish out the year. So thanks so much for being here. Glenn, thanks so much for your co-hosting. I appreciate it as always.
Teamwork, dreamwork, baby.
And everybody, we'll see you real soon.
Happy holidays.